It's 1:11 p.m. Saturday, It's 1:11 p.m. Saturday, April 26, 2025. Out in the world where I am ShanteyJ. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm enjoying my Saturday. It's a beautiful day out. It's a beautiful day out. I'm watching All About the Benjamins. You know, sometimes a good comedy, sometimes they say laughter is good for the soul. It's good for everything. That is not a lie. So I'm sitting here, I'm watching All About the Benjamins. Then I'm like, since I'm watching that, I'm going ahead and watch Ride Along 1 and 2. So I guess you're looking for like good laughs today, you know, some entertainment while you're indoors. That's something to do. Well, anyway, so what was I going to talk about? I had a topic in mind the other day, and evidently somebody can't wait for me to talk about it. You know, because I was watching something on TV, and I'm trying to pay attention, so I had something to talk about here. I said, you know what? Because I was paying attention to what's going on, you know, just in general, in the news, social media, you know, just not just entertainment, but the world. And sometimes when it comes down to the law, and what you're, and, you know, and what you're being charged with, so to speak, whether it is legal or illegal, has a lot to do with the wording. I can understand something like that. So I was like, really, what is the difference between being a prostitute, an escort, a girlfriend, a sugar baby, a kept woman? You know what? Is there any difference between that? You know? So that is what I was going to talk about. I was going to wait and go online, do a little research, trying to get some more specific examples. But since I'm in a hurry, I guess here we go. You know what? Because I was curious about what really is there any difference? Is there any difference? And it didn't come down to it. I hate to say it, but as women, you know, as young women, you know, from the time we start dating up until what? You know what? Not free. Can I just say it like that? You know what? Now, hold up. Not for the freezing. I learned that word watching family on YouTube. You know what? So when we talk about dating and things like that, because then I was watching a television show the other day, and somebody said something about, no, you're not going on dates. I didn't know you were doing dates. Because they're not gonna say the P word. You know what? They ain't even gonna say the E word. I know you aren't going on dates. They might be, but not for the freezing. You know, and not for free. You know. So you know what? So I was like, you know, so you find yourself in a situation. And you know, really, what is the difference? Is there? You know what? A prostitute. I got someone that's performing sexual favors for a fee. Places where it's against the law, or places where it is without a license, something like that. And from my understanding, escorts. We use that word escort because back in the day, I was curious. You know, I was curious about it. So like escort. Remember the young lady from America's Next Top Model? You know, she was an escort up in New York. You know what? And then she claimed she disclosed it, but then you know when it came time for her to win, she didn't. It supposedly had something to do with that. So escorts. So supposedly escorts. And sometimes we put prostitutes and escorts in that same thing. But I went off and I did my research. If I go online, it said that escorts are not allowed to have sex in any way, be intimate with someone in any way. Not where they're on their hourly rate, you know, something, right? So you go out and you have an escort, and she's gonna spend the day with you from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. From 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. they cannot have sex with you. Not while on the clock. Not while they are with you as a paid escort. So I was like, at first, so the only difference between prostitutes and escorts is that prostitutes have sex, whereas escorts are more like companions. At least that's what we wanted people to believe. Evidently not. So then I was like, so we doing prostitutes, and then we doing escorts, and then a girlfriend. I remember some years ago, I was watching a Tyra show, and there is a such thing as a girlfriend experience. I'm like, what exactly is that? And I remember it said sometimes you could put it was Craigslist. That's what it is, Craigslist, and evidently. You know, it had some women on there, and they had ads in the newspaper on the internet, and people were hiring them for what was called at that time the girlfriend experience. I'm like, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? You know what? So this is why I want to do a little bit more research. But it's one of those things where I tell those people I talk about from time to time back here. You know, I guess they were in a hurry. They were in a hurry. So then you talk about yourself saying prostitutes. So they had sex day. Is it always a day? Maybe, really, you know, oh, that's a good one. So prostitutes, you perform some type of sexual favors for a fee. you know. And then escorts, I thought escorts were just paid companions. Evidently not. Or that may be what it is by definition, but not. And then we're talking about the girlfriend experience. You know what? So then you know those people. I guess those people that it's more like a companion, and then they have it's like a girlfriend, but only while you're paying me to, something like that. And then sugar babies. I'm hearing that a lot, like sugar babies. And then I had to be honest. I almost put my ad on sugarbabies.com. No, seriously, like you think I got potential? Seriously, I had to say it because it's one of those things. Have you heard? You might have heard. Not that I was gonna have the nerve to do it. You know what? But for some reason, I was curious about it. Because now they have these talk shows, reality TV shows, where these people on there, or what is it? These reality television series the dating websites, dating services where these men and these women are purposely seeking people of a certain financial status, right? So in turn they're called sugar babies. But speaking of sugar babies, when we think of sugar babies, we think about women, young attractive women, and these older wealthy men. And they said the only reason you want him because he got a lot of money. Not necessarily, not necessarily, but that might be how they meet. You know what? But then, speaking of which, I was watching a television show, a judge show, and there was a woman on there. She was suing these two young men. Because they for breach of contract, and because we're thinking of sugar babies. When we think of sugar babies, we think of these young women, young, very attractive, sexy women, and then the older men, wealthy, established men, and then meanwhile you're looking at her and you're like, the only reason you want him because he got a lot of money, and then you look at him and you say, the only reason you want him because he using her for sex. It might be a mutually beneficial interaction. You know what? So anyway, so it's this lady, an older lady, a lady. And I can't tell you, I said, listen, you know what, I'm not in my teens anymore, I'm not in my 20s anymore. This lady, she took that little hind parts of court. For breach of contract. Because we had sugar babies every week. We think about the young ladies, but we don't think about the young men. So I had to stop. That's one reason I stopped and watched the show. And I was just curious as a judge, because she did bring that little behind. Because as long as she was paying these young men a few $1,000s a month, it was two of them. She had two of them. One was like $3,000, and the other one was like $4,000 or a little more than that. And as long as they were under contract with her, they were not allowed to see anybody. Now she can go out and do whatever she wanted to. She can go out as many days she could live her life as freely. But if she ever catch them, while they are under contract, or while she's paying for their time of companionship, right? So let me tell you what happened. So it was like this young man. They're both of them attractive young men, plus their hearts are just cute as they wanted to be, and both of them were under contract with the same lady, were really, really attractive, established woman, wealthy. No, she was. And she took that little hind parts to court because he done told his little friend about her. So I guess she thought he was cute. She was like, you know what? I'm going ahead. I'm gonna take both of them. It's not Judge Maybelline. It's a judge with a medium brown skin, short hair, short hair. You know what? I hate to say it, but keep talking about her. But something like that. An African American female judge. She's been on television for some years. I can't remember her name. It's not Judge Maybelline. It's not. She's like a medium brown complexion, short hair. It was on her television show. You want to go back and find it. Well, anyway, it was this wealthy woman. You know what? Wealthy woman. She had two on payroll. And the thing is that so because I guess one friend, he was wondering how his friend had so much money. So he told his friend, about her, and so he took his friend over there, and she put both of them under contract. Now, see, that they were supposed to go out for Valentine's Day. I forget with which one she was supposed to go out with for Valentine's Day, but she went out and she met somebody else. She didn't need the companionship that she was paying for Valentine's Day. She had scheduled in advance for Valentine's Day. So she met someone, a nice young man like her, and he asked her out to date, a real one, So she was like, you know what? So these young men done took it upon themselves. Now they know when they sign that contract, you cannot date. You cannot be seen in public anything resembling a date. Not while you are under contract. So bless his heart, number one, and number two, they decided because they probably was somewhere nice. Matter of fact, they was exactly where she was. Hell yeah, they had a lot of money, a couple $1,000s a month on her. You know what? But it's hers. So these young men, bless their heart, they think they'll go out together on Valentine's Day. She got on her date, her and the man that asked her out, her gentleman friend, that asked her out. And she see them at the same restaurant as her. She walked forward. She ain't walk her ass over there and tell, because they're not allowed to date. They're not allowed to date. They're not allowed to frequent places where she goes to without her. And they can in any way nothing resembling a romantic relationship. Wow, under contract. That's the thing I know. I'm watching on TV. I'm like, oh God, this woman is a trip. You know what? So then you used to think about, the sugar babies. Then you think about kept women. You know what? Is there really a difference? Because you know what? It's like, okay, fine, yeah, your prostitutes. No such. They get paid. Whatever it is everybody else do, they get paid in advance. You know what? For well, it's at the same time, but at the same time, we are whether we want to come right on and say it or not, we are in a society where we are raised as women. You know what? That what it's not for free. Or they feel like they have to do something for it. You know what? Now, right. So meanwhile, when you deal with these women, professionals, pros, you know what? Now we're gonna talk about these women because they getting paid in advance for everything that you know what? In installments. That's how I was thinking about it a long time ago. You know what? Because I remember back in the day, they say technically you're not supposed to kiss until date 5, if I'm not mistaken. You know what? Some people might just go ahead and skip everything and have sex on the first date. You know what? Because why? You know what? You expect them to take you out on a real date at least 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And don't be cheap. You know what? And then after day 5, then you might. You know what? Well, this young lady, the prostitute, skip the date. They just take all that money in advance and whatever. But then I remember a long time ago. I don't want this to be detailed because I want to think about this before. And I remember many years ago, because I've always worked around men, and so I was just men. We were never in an intimate relationship. We were in the military together. We were co-workers. And then he said that sometimes women play themselves. You know what? And sometimes the man might go along with it. But what Steve Harvey said years later about he always has a plan for you. That is not a lie. You know what? He knows from day one, if not from day one, from that initial interaction with your first day, exactly what his intentions are for you. If he tells you anything else, he's lying. So he was like, sometimes you have to be careful because sometimes these women, they try to present themselves a certain way. Somebody say something that men can smell a whole mile away. They might get. You know what? But I don't care what he said. They were like, well, I'm gonna wait 6, make him wait 6 months. You know what? Why? To have sex with him. Not that you haven't thought about it, but you don't want to think that you're that type of person. Or better yet, I'm make him wait a year. Sometimes some men, he said to me, if that's all he wanted from you to begin with, he'll wait that whole year. He'll show up every once in a while for a whole year, spend a little time with you, stuff like that. You know what? Right. But 1 year later, 12:01 a.m. You know what? It's over. You know what? Right. Now see, is his fault that you played yourself? You know what? Or maybe I look at the perspective differently because I've been around too many. So meanwhile, this is why, because it could be a sensitive subject. So I was watching a television show, one of my favorite television shows, a reality show on YouTube, and someone said, I didn't know you've been doing dates. You know what? I don't want to come out and say what it is, but giving that kind of vibe. I said, so what is the difference between prostitutes, escorts, the girlfriend experience, sugar babies in particular? You know what? And then maybe when we deal with kept women, and then girlfriends and wives, is there really any difference? That's why I really wanted to sit down, and really give it some thought. So I have a very specific example. So we look at prostitutes as sex workers. That's not like slaves, sex workers. You know what? Right? And then I was watching something yesterday about sex therapists. Remember that song some years back by Robin Thicke, sex therapy. Oh, there's such a thing. So I really wanted to go into this topic, and really explore the topic because it can be kind of fun. But I noticed when I got quiet, Now anyway, so so when you're dealing with things like prostitutes, you know what, and then you're dealing with escorts, companions, we're thinking more like companions, and then we're dealing with like this girlfriend experience. So my assuming is that the escorts and the girlfriends don't have sex. They're more like just dating and paid companions with different titles, and. And then we're dealing with things like Sugar Baby, because now there's a whole website like sugarbaby.com, where it's like these young people that are evidently men and women looking for more established, financially sound men and women, where there's in that interaction be some type of mutual benefit on both sides, something like that, But then when it comes down to it, because when maybe not with the girlfriend experience or the escort, but then we deal with prostitutes, and then we dealing with the sugar babies, where it might be an intimate relationship, whereas you are receiving something of monetary value, where at some point in time there's exchange of some type of intimate or sexual interaction, right? So then then we deal with things like Catwoman. I remember this one documentary I found many years ago. That's the only real example that I have of Catwoman, and maybe I'll talk about that later. But anyway, but speaking of which, I guess if you have your spare time, if you're really into those court TV shows like I was, it's not Judge Maybelline, and it's definitely not Judge Judy. It's another one, medium brown, short hair, and she's been on there for a long time. I think it's the first. It's probably, when was I watching this? Back in. This is 2024, early 2024. So I think the episode probably aired like 2023. It was an older woman, a mature woman, and she said, little bless his heart, one and two, because him and his friend was on the payroll. You know what? Sugar babies, and took him to court for a breach of contract. So I guess if you want to look into that yourself, I was like, oh my God, I almost couldn't believe it, because I guess being as a woman not in my teens or 20s anymore, I was like, girl. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. That what they was though. That's accused. They wanted to be little one, and number two. And he trying to figure out where his friend getting all this money from. So what he do? He took his friend over there. She was okay. She kept both of them, $2,000 a month. You know what? They can't do nothing. They can't. God, hers. You know what? I mean, I know how it sounds. But you know what? Then she found them out. So she found themselves on it. So she got on a date, a real date, because she can do what she want to do. They just can't. So she got on a real date, and they are the same place she is, hanging out, having a good time. Hell no. Right. So anyway, so I thought that was fun. But anyway, so it's just one of those things where I was thinking, is there really a difference? And then sometimes they say sometimes when it comes to certain things, it really is the wording. You know what? So I guess I don't know. This is one of those topics that I really want to talk about, and I think it'd be a fun topic a little bit. You know what? And then but yeah. So I was thinking about that. You know what? But yeah, I guess they just gonna wait. And then it's something else I want to talk about that slipped my mind. But anyway, yeah, I wrote it down, and I was like, is there? You want to know what I was watching? I try not to talk about people directly, because I don't know if they want me to. And I was watching Chasing Dallas. What was it? In Dallas? Yeah, it was in Dallas. I think it was like season 6, episode 5. Somewhere between season 6, episode 3, something like that. You know what? Well, anyway, this young lady, she was okay. I would say young one. Okay, 2 men, 2 trans male. One of them was a stylist, and the other one was getting their hair done. And they was having this conversation. She was saying that. Well, anyway, so I guess if I go back and find exactly, I'll let you know exactly where it was. But they used the word that you use the word dates. No one used the word prostitutes. And I wonder, is there really a difference between prostitutes and escorts and the girlfriend experience? And then being a kept woman, a sugar baby. Is there really a difference between any of those things? But for some reason you out and about and you're doing something and it's, I guess, prostitute. And now that would get you in jail. That would get you arrested. But escort, and I guess maybe not. You know what? A kept woman. probably not sugar baby. No, right, girlfriend, the girlfriend experience, maybe not. I mean, I don't know. So I was just curious. One of the things I was curious about. I'm curious about myself, no, just out and about. And then, I remember, and then, I remember, I said, because for the majority of my life, I've been around men more so than women. And I did this guy I was talking about, and this guy I was talking to, no, we never had an intimate relationship at all. No, really never. Just co-workers. And he was like, sometimes with women, you know what, they'll try to make these men wait because they assume that if they make the men wait longer for sex, to have sex with them, then it will lead to some higher level of commitment. No, not necessarily. That's because he said, it was years ago, that, they always have a plan for you, even if they never come right out and say it. So it's just one of those things where he knows you, for some reason you got in your mind, you want to make him wait a whole year. He can, you know what? But just because you meet him today, Saturday, April 26, 2025, and let's say at 12:01 a.m. April 27, 2025, he don't want to be with you anymore. Is it your fault or his that he played yourself? So that'd be a topic that I want to talk about in general. But anyway, many years later, Steve Harvey went off and wrote a book. I bought it. I read the whole thing. You know what? 90 days, no cookie rule. You know what? And then it gets some people. Is 90 days really long enough? You know what? It's 6 months. And then again, it's 6 months really long enough. You know what? Is a year really long enough if you're really that steadfast and immovable in your faith? God said that the marital bed only will be blessed. So I don't know. Maybe I'll be back later and talk about these topics a little more. Other than that, I am ShanteyJ. Good afternoon.